Right now, we gotta worry about what's happening with Prodoxy. Jason, Atris is gonna be the first one knocked. Prodoxy knows, though, he can't afford to let up the pressure anytime soon, but he can't get close either. He doesn't have a shotgun. He's only got this hammer assault rifle to work with. Pablo, Chino, Prodoxy, though, because of that initial knock and elimination, they're gonna have the advantage here. Pablo can't get overhead. Jason and Chicho are scrambling. Chicho with an excellent shot, delivering straight damage towards Pablo, but it's only Jason left to try and fend for himself, and the swarm is coming after him, everything crumbling at his feet.
3v1 situation. Almost even more than that, with the bugs taking him down as well. Tayson's gonna fall, and another off-spawn victory for Prodoxy, Chino, and Pablo. We talked about this being the team right here that will try to win it all and take matters into their own hands. With the drop spot roulette, it's not just for one team. Veno, Flixie, and Vico, they've had enough of Canyons Crossing. They go toward the north side of the map. Balor, Adapter, Mansoor, they're the ones now getting surprise contested.
The issue for Veno, Vico, and Flixie as they find that last elimination onto Belord is that they know it's just not worth dealing with the delays of being contested at Canyons Crossing. They'd rather stake their bets elsewhere, and I like the idea to pivot. They have a very realistic chance of taking over the top three if they're able to actually play through their own strategies. But Pixie, Marius, and Vanya, every time they're on the screen, you almost anticipate that the Vanya boo-boo's gonna follow shortly after. Marius, just what a supportive teammate, tossing medkits their way, making sure that everybody has ample white heals to play tag off Surge.
Yeah, essentially consolidating all of those extra heals into one spot. Clixie, Amzo, Higgs, and even though Supernova Academy uncontested, they're sticking to the plan that they practice up until this point. They land over towards those RBs, they get some chests, but most importantly, it's how quick and fast you can kind of max out your brick material, and then they go right back on over to Supernova, where this time it's a little bit of a hot drop. Extra loot over there, but Epic, Paper, Victor B, that just wasn't a one-game wonder. They're going again at Cammy and iDrop. Hadi's already out, and that gives them a huge advantage. A momentum shift, confidence at an all-time high, as Victor V looking to go toe-to-toe with Cammy there on the other side, fighting for pieces, knowing he has his teammates behind him. He's ready to go all in.
Ever since Victor V was able to shut down Peterbot in the first lobby of yesterday, Jacob, it seems like he's been playing with an all-new level of confidence, and that's the most lethal kind of confidence a player could possibly have. Victor V still looking to close in onto Cammy and iDrop, barreling at the walls here, and Paper directly underneath. It's a lot of pressure, and there's nowhere to run. That is until Pump possibly decides to enter the exchange directly overhead. Victor V closes off the back wall, though, but he's scrambling. The fragger is down. It's all up to Epic Whale and Paper to recover this.
The aggressive nature coming out of Pump. He's the one that locks in and gets a lot of the damage and eliminations. He was the one that won Major 3, forcing that spot to roll down to Victor V, Epic, and Paper, but at least two of them are still alive. The IGL, the 6-time FNCS champion, and with iDrop, Hadi, and Cammy rotating out of this, they have a chance here. It might not be a massive one, but a chance to survive, get Victor V back into the game. But you can see on the minimap, the zone is kind of telling. It might kind of center up this game instead of leaning one side to the next, but it's all about that north or south pole where these teams are going to have to rotate quicker than ever.
Different scenes for Chino, Prodoxy, and Pablo. Ever since they won that initial battle at Rangers Ruin, had full control of the swarm. Now they're getting the priority access and double the trouble. Gonna enter the conversation.
I feel like that was best case scenario in terms of exotics, considering their playstyle. Yeah, Slapberry Fizz could be good, extra heals. Yeah, a Wrecker Revolver, the exotic could be good. But the way these guys fight, two different one-pump shotguns could possibly change the game, especially since they ended yesterday with a win and 19 eliminations. They're trying to channel that. Arc continues to take the fight towards the north side of the map. Goofy, Vortex, and Mountain, they're the ones they had enough of throughout the day. And Arc, yeah.
Yeah, they're scrappy, and that's the big thing here, is that Arc South School, they realize Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy are just farming Surge off of Queasy. from a distance. So we're gonna take the battle to them. We don't wanna waste any more time as issues continue to pile up elsewhere. Epic Whale might have just met his demise at the hands of Cold. So tells me that Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, they're still on the move. They're still looking at third party, any instances they can get their hands on. But Salco, Art School, first they've got to deal with Oceania. And the longer this draws out, Jacob, the worse it is for both of them.
Yeah, when they won their major championship in Major 2, it was through aggression. It was through running down teams, forcing them back to the lobby, whether they liked it or not. They're trying to channel that here, but it's just not that easy because every one of these teams, regardless of the region, are one of the best teams in the world, which is how they qualified to this stage. Goofy, Vortex, and Mountain, they're just not going to roll over. They're going to fight with every fiber up there being. The Vortex takes a good shot. Shield goes out the window. Arc continues the pressure on that other side. Salco's there to back him up. Goofy just kind of gets tricked a little bit. Damage continues to pour in. Salco and Arc are feeling more and more confident with each second passes in this fight. But Arc might have bit off just a little bit more than he can chew. 40 HP or left is all he has left.
A little bit of over-aggression possibly spilling through there from Arc, and that's going to give Mountain, Goofy, and Vortex much more priority inside of the box fight, but teams are continuing to collapse around the map. Vico, Veno, Flixi also looking to establish a little bit of a surge strategy. It comes as no real surprise that some teams are still looking to just trade knocks from their surge-based positions, but again, when teams are caught up in these close encounters, they don't have any other choice but to fight their way through. And that's exactly what School, Arc, and Salco are looking for, but they need to have commitment. Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy just continue to delay. It is a worst-case scenario for both of these teams.
From the off-spawn fight, taking down Tayson, they're now putting their aggression on Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. They got that first elimination already on the IGL, leaving Agers and Pollo on the back foot. And it's not only that team they have to worry about. If you look at the minimap, the north, the south, even the east has third-party potential written all over it. Pollo's taking a lot of that pressure, and this is exactly what I warned you about. When you have that one-pump potential, they're immediately going to put it to use. Down goes Pollo. Doxy, Pablo, and Chino are looking to take over Game 9.
It's less about the one-pump potential for me, Jacob. It's more if you see Doxy, Pablo, and Chino win that off-spawn as quickly as they did, you never know where they're going to come from. These guys are experts at executing the roam strategy and finding their surge through sheer elimination firepower. And Agers left to pull back to Demon's debris. But this is like starting from square one. Two builds. We can see a little bit of where things went south here. Checking back in with Prodoxy, finding that initial knock, leading into the elimination onto Pollo. It's just disastrous right now for Acorn.
Not just them, though. No Savage, he was knocked. Chaps are trying to get back into it, but he's going to fall as well. Him and Reason just go down to Snowy and Sod. Ryu, he was eliminated early on, but they have to watch out. The third party's now looking to crash. They know, they heard it. That's Reed, Cooper, and Curly trying to make up for lost time. They were able to get the revive off, but saw just a sliver of HP, looking for survival. The launch pad comes out, so they have to abandon ship. Cooper sees it into the sky. This is his only chance. They cannot let him survive because they need the points. They need the surge, and they're going to grab it all.
Curly and Cooper, just the perfect tag team to nail those players. The moment that they try to escape, third parties are just so vicious, and it's crazy to think, Jacob, at how much action has really taken place inside of the Storm.
Oh no, I saw what happened in the feed, but now we get to see it here. Flixi down. Vico's trying to fight back. He gets the elimination onto Tay-Tay. Rido's essentially going to be by himself, and you see him lurking around. Veno just runs into the brick wall. Rido is there. Oh my God! Back to back!
I'm speechless. I can't believe we just witnessed that. Veno and Vico have Raito in their sights, and yet somehow, some way, they're the ones that are sitting waiting for the battle bus to take off in the next lobby. Iyamzo, Clicks, and Higgs drawing us back into Supernova Academy. But Jacob, this is preposterous what is taking place.
I feel like all three majors was kind of like leaning towards one thing. A lot of these towers, the surge, the trading shots, but when you come to the global championship and things don't work out, you have to adapt, and you're really seeing a lot of these teams adapting at its finest. Marius, Vanya, Pixie from the OXR HQ. This is exactly what you're talking about, consolidating the heals early on in the game, 3 med kits in the inventory, extra med miss. So now, even though they have to rotate on out, they're as healthy as can be. The Flowberry Fizz and that launch pad means they can cover almost 1,000 meters across the map before they have to land.
It's all about just trying to stay out of that render distance. They don't want to be scouted out as they're soaring in off these rotations. But Pixx, Darm, Demus just continue to impress. You would never believe that this is their first ever LAN experience. They have played with so much confidence throughout the entirety of this weekend. It almost feels inevitable before they find their victory royale.
See, Darm clutched 60 points as a solo, the most of any other player. Taco, we have 8-time champions. We have 7-time champions. We have 6-time champions. We have some of the best players in the world, but it's Darm, the new kid on the block, that's really putting on a show here for his team. If they can continue this pressure, you know, I think that something can happen here when the score is over at the end of the day. Only time will tell. Non-Resign and Alex, they haven't moved away from their drop spot 2 yet. The zone has kind of helped them out, but now they're going to get a farther pull than they've ever faced so far. And the only big question, seeing nobody else really around them, is how much surge do they have?
They'll at least have that rip pod incoming, a little bit more resources, a little bit more utility that they can possibly utilize. But heading towards the top of this mountain range, Anon bound to have spotted out those players a little bit further east from where they're located. So you have to anticipate that there's going to be a team possibly looking to set up a crouch sneak play. You can never be too careful. You got to check every single corner in day 2.
Kanata Rapid Bolts rotating on over, trying to get as close to the center of the zone as possible, give themselves a little bit of elevation to work with, not too much. They don't want to be kind of the focus of the lobby overall. Seti, Yapko, Panzer, same thing for them. They already got their mountaintop. Just at the edge of the zone, though. Seti's using that bush to his advantage, not even a full box.
If you don't respect the player, you've got to respect the gameplay. Maybe Seti can win over this French audience. Maybe he can be an honorary, nominee for somebody to cheer for here, because they've really been playing lights out this weekend, Jacob. They deserve a little bit of credit for what they've been able to put up. But right now, it's all about Anon, Alex, and Resigns trying to shut down Seti, Panzer, and Yapko. They don't want to allow him to find any sort of rhythm.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, though, because you saw that stat. Yapko, with 2 different versions of the AR, he has the most damage in the lobby, making sure that they can play these games out with flexibility. They can play these games out with space and positioning, because he is making sure they are almost always above that Storm Surge threshold. And it comes from positioning like this. Remember, Taco, they land at the Kappa factory all the way towards the east, so they're making their rotations a huge focal point of their game plan. As we jump on board, Pixx, Higgs, and Iyamso still rotating in from the north side of the map. They're being trailed by King Phaser and PHSin, which is not a comfortable feeling, because King Phaser and PHSin love to fight.
And it's not only that, but look at how much material they've been having to burn on their way in. Not only that, but they're also just announcing to everybody else inside of zone already that's looking back, oh, there's walls going up. Oh, there's definitely at least one team approaching us from the flank, so they don't even have a chance to try and even posture more towards the inner section of that edge of zone. And Phaser, King, PHN, that is the last team you want behind you, because for the reasons you just mentioned, Jacob, they love to fight.
And they do so as a full trio. So it's almost like a hope for Pixx, Iyamso, and Higgs, or any other team positioned nearby, that they're above the damage threshold, because that's one less aggressive team that you do have to worry about. But you're seeing when it comes to our top 10, 2 more teams have went down. Still got Malibuca's team alive, 332 points. He's only 2 points down from 8th. 2 more points after that for 7th. A little bit more of a run to get into the top 6, but with that player and team already down, it's a realistic chance. Uncontested has proved to be fruitful, but oh my gosh, Detector strikes somehow, some way. Panzer, Yapko, they're both down. Seti, the invitational champion, has to figure out a way to fight back, but that Trey's on the other side. Visual diminished, they have to be nearby, and especially now more and more teams are closing in on the distance. Seti has to figure it out, and he gets denied.
just nowhere left for Seti to run, and France is going crazy. Watching Seti be eliminated, but the action isn't done just yet. Anon resigns, Alex still overhead. Underneath, Buyuriru and Wixie, they're trying to prevent Braid's visuals and the Minish from actually leaving this territory, but for how long can they actually stop them? The moment that they move out of here, Visuals bound to take notice. He's immediately trying to apply a little bit of additional damage, maybe get some good shots up, but revisiting what was going down with Pixx, Yamzo, and Higgs, they're actually gonna be the ones to get the jump onto Asia. Razzle, a little bit too isolated, and that's gonna be an immediate knock into the elimination.
Yeah, Razzle got frazzled by Pixx, Yamzo, and Higgs, but they're not giving up. And this is a change-up with another knock, an elimination going over to Yamzo. It all comes at a cost because Pixx goes down. Higgs is trying to stay alive, and he does just that. Yamzo helping save the day, and that's the big part from this team. Because remember, there was a moment yesterday. They got a knock. They got an elimination on the Kanata. Higgs wanted to push over. He wanted to fight that fight 3v2. The rest of the team said, nah, 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 let's rotate in. These guys have come for a comeback.
But Pablo, he's last man standing. Paper, still looking to see if he can find him, and Victor V right next to him. Pablo so deeply tucked away into a corner, but he doesn't have a whole lot of options to escape here. Immediately charged in, but Paper, what a shot! He's gonna be put down into the dirt. Victor V is gonna be able to revive him. A nice clutch by their fragger, but that was still insanity.
I love how they're willing to fight the best of the best in the entire world, and that's Victor V's legacy. If y'all remember way, way back when Arkham was even still playing, Coney Crossroads, Victor V said, this is my drop. I don't care how many championships you have, Epic. I don't know how many championships you have, Arkham. You're gonna have to go through me. And it's full circle. Now they're on the same team, and that confidence for Victor V is at an all-time high.
This is a much more familiar sight, though, for Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache. Arguably their best loadouts at this point of the lobby so far here today. And Mustache, Swizzy, Queasy definitely still being very conscious of what surrounds them. School Arc and Salgo not too far behind, but Yamzo and Pixx, they're forcing their way into these edges of zones, and they just don't have anything to work with. The last of their materials being expended. Yamzo even opting to try and fall further back, hoping that the Medmis can buy him enough time, but Pump, Baka, Pars, they're already in zone, Jacob. They'll hold this for as long as they want.
Yeah, and since they're already positioned in zone, like you said, it makes it an easy decision for Pars to kind of go by himself. He knows his teammates are watching his back to try to get that loot as fast as possible. Yamzo knows they're closing in on the distance. He's trying to use his crash pads to escape, but you cannot escape NA West as they take down Pixx, Higgs, and Yamzo, and their struggles continue.
It's just asking for way too much for Yamzo to wiggle his way out of that one. Even if it hadn't been Baka, Pars, and Pump, you could see there's still several other teams in the area that were bound to lobby focus that solo the moment that they spotted him out. Malabuko walks ping, though. Looking to get a little bit more active here, trying to funnel teams around them. They want to see if they can make a play just to switch slightly higher up onto the elevation, utilize some of this natural map terrain, but they're still holding teams back. They don't want anybody rotating through them. Malabuka keeping a heavy eye out. Walks, separate angle hold there too, but right now, they've got a little bit more time. It's the calm before the storm.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement, the way some of these games have been going on, especially today, where more and more teams are realizing the position that they are in on that leaderboard. They're realizing one of the only ways to come back is actually contesting that high ground, making sure Mustache, Quizzy, and Swizzy don't continue to run away with a tournament. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Him and Braze get active early on. They get another elimination on the mid-team. As Darm just continue looking around, every team that crash pads to the zone, they're at least landing 1, 2, 3 crucial shots, which is where you see the difference right there from Coyote, Yuma, and Raise, is because they used the Flowberry Fizz with the crash pad to cover more ground, get higher up in the sky, and make it harder for them to get tagged up.
A little bit of a look back into what went down with Brazil. Phaser actually winning out, getting a good knock onto Cooper, and that's gonna leave a very difficult entry point for Salco, Arc, and School. They're not even gonna be able to push through, just completely forced back. The interruption so steep, but up here, Jacob. Another team bound to try and jump immediately onto them, but Ping, Malabuka somehow brought back without much of a challenge, and that is actually insanity to witness. And it's the surge underneath, that's the real problem.
It's not just surge, it's active surge on top of that. Alex and On resigns, they're trying to rotate away. They get some shots, but they're still 160 below. Every 7 or so seconds, 25 damage pours out, and you don't get knocked. You get straight eliminated. Crash Pad, Flowberry Fizz, they're doing what they can to rotate towards the zone, but it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, it's Mustache on the other side. M8 versus M8. Malabuka has no choice. 128 below the damage threshold. Queasy down, Swizzy, a sliver of HP. It's all up to Mustache.
But Mustache knows how to play it through as a solo. He can maybe clutch up big time here. He just needs a few more placements to continue extending in first place. Malabuka walks Ping still underneath that surge threshold. They're trying, they're so desperate. Everybody around them knows it too. They're not trying to allow the opportunity to let these guys break through their builds. But Mustache as a solo, what more could you possibly do? He's still buying points. He just needs players to fall around him.
I feel like if anybody could start to make this clutch happen, it's him. They are above the damage threshold, but no Queasy, no Swizzy. They're not in this lobby, and that means a new team is able to claim that high ground. Pixie, Vanya, and Marius. Last time we seen them on this high ground, they weren't able to convert, but this is a second chance for them. And this is a big chance because we're still into the top 15. They have no eliminations for Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy. They only have 2 placements versus placement points. This is how you close the gap.
They're certain to have seen what that elimination feed looks like though, but Demus, Darm, Pixx, seeing them control the low ground comes as no real surprise, but they know they've got to keep a hold of that front side. They're immediately going to start making their way towards it, but they still got to be careful. Height overhead, Mustache is a solo. He'll be forced to drop to ultimate low. Malabuka creeping directly underneath him, but Mustache, he doesn't realize it. He only has 6 builds. He's trying to conserve as much as he possibly can. He's just so quiet in the background.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting for the zone to force him out, that all these teams bypass him on this rotation and hopefully try to get some sort of a sneak attack. Peterbach holding Ritual still alive in this game as well, but their material count rather low. A lot of the teams being affected by the high ground and the pressure that they keep pouring down, but at least they're 134 above the damage threshold. When it comes to Storm Surge, I think they're good from here on out, and even Pixie from up above getting another knock onto Coyota. Alex cleans that one up, so Luke going on over to him, but they're just pressuring over and over and over, whether it's an AR, the double pump, they're not letting any team look up.
It's an issue though. Anon, Alex resigns from the low ground. They might be able to pick off Yuma, but they gotta worry about Pixx, Darm, and Demus, who've essentially cut them off. They've completely surrounded Oceania. They're gonna be the ones to overtake the front side of zone now, and with Darm leading the charge, spraying back next to Pump, Pars, and Baca, but no one dares to challenge Poland underneath.
That was a good time to take him out. There are 12 placements worth of points still left, more than half still on the leaderboard. Resigns trying to go in. They lose Alex along the way. Underneath, they have to turn back. That's Kanata. They're wreaking havoc on the low ground. Resigns falls all the same. The whole team gets sent back to the lobby. Even Baca's feeling it. Pars has to go on by himself. Vanya's taking down Peter. Nobody has had a chance to look up. They're denying opportunity after opportunity. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya could go all the way.
Without Acorn or Queasy in the lobby, we knew Height was probably going to default to Vanya instead, but Darm, Demus, Pixx, they refuse to give it up. They're still looking to bring this one home. Kanata as a solo, Marius with another elimination, just carrying all of the resources back to his Tarper. Vanya down to his final couple of builds, but thanks to that refresh, a little bit further, he can extend that Height take. Pixie thought he could maybe drop. He's got Marius right next to him. They're causing so much catastrophe, but Pixx, Darm, and Demus, that's a fight they might be willing to take.
I could count on one hand how many healthy teams are still left in this game. Kanata has no shot. He's trying to get as many placements before he eventually does go down. Vanya, I'm not sure what happened, but he gets knocked. 2 players up on the high ground. Sphinx trying to battle back, but Pixie gets dropped. Marius falls as as well. Pixx, Darm, and Demus, the underdogs, are looking to take it all because they might be one of the only trios left in this lobby, but I spoke too soon. Darm goes down. They have to get the revive. They're the only team on the low ground in the zone.
Sphinx and Shadow, they don't have a chance. They can't push through. They know they need to find a way to break open. But Darm, that's a big shot. That's all that they needed. Phaser, last man standing on height. Pixx still trying to see where's his last player. He's looking to chop out Phaser. Whether or not Phaser can even drop, does he have the Flowberry Fizz? Will he fall before he gets the chance? He was hoping somebody else would deal with Poland, but Pixx and Demus, this is it. Costa Gura raining through. Pixx